I already did this once. Oh, here we go. I already did this one. Oh, but I'm on it. Oh, here we go. Oh, but I'm on it.
Howdy, howdy.
Where are you? Oh, there you are.
You may want to click the tab that says like my meeting or the one to the farthest left.
Oh, there you are.
You may want to click the tab that says like my meeting or the one to the farthest left.
The, the Zoom workplace?
Um, let's see. I'm not sure what it would say, but if you have multiple tabs up at the top of your Zoom screen. Also, did you want to do headphones
Um,
and microphone? I can
I
hear
know.
myself coming out of
Yeah.
your speakers. I'm not sure what it would say, but if you have multiple tabs up at the
Huh.
top of your Zoom screen. Also, did you want to do headphones and microphone? I can
I
hear
know.
myself coming out of
Yeah.
your speakers.
Is that okay? So I paused it. Is that my pausing my playback or is that pausing the show, the stream?
I apologize. I actually don't know because I don't see the same things you do on your end.
Yeah. I don't
It
know what
looks
I'm
like the stream is still going.
okay. Okay, good, because I don't want to watch it. I don't want it playing in our heads while we're going. Does that make sense? The looping, it was looping like three times.
I
Well, I mean,
can
it
hear
was like,
myself on your end, but I'm not sure.
okay. So, off to another rocky start, everybody. But getting better. At least I'm understanding the vocabulary of what we're supposed to do here. So, welcome to Writing is Dangerous, episode 2. I'm your host, Johnny Neill. Mr.
I'm
Kyle
your
Scott.
co-host, Kyle Scott.
Mr. Kyle Scott is our co-host and the heart and soul of this operation. He's keeping my blood flowing. Ah.
Don't blame me for that.
Oh, no, no. I'm grateful. There's no blame involved. It's all gratitude here, man. Um, just wanted to say, went to the Austin Film Festival this weekend and got to see my guru, JV Hart, give a really great presentation on the heart chart. He had zoomed in Dan Erickson, the creator and writer of Severance, and they used the heart chart to analyze the season 2 finale of Severance. And talk about a complicated uh, charting out that was because so many of the characters had two characters and they had to cross at different points and it was pretty fun. What was really fun about it was that Dan Erickson met JV at the Austin Film Festival 2 years ago and has been using the heart chart ever since. So that's so Severance season 2 was created using the heart chart. That's pretty encouraging. So yeah, so let's get on it. How are you feeling, Kyle?
Doing good. Watched some Twilight Zone today to get hyped for writing some Twilight Zone with you, pretty much.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm in a good headspace.
So I need to hit share here, right? So that's going to be my share screen. Safari, the heart chart. Let's see. All right. So let me make a little space. Okay. So, first of all, I want to point out that your outline is a living document. The whole time you're writing, you should be updating your outline. This is what we'll create our outline with. Um, the big thing that I snapped to was that I wasn't living up to the principle of the heart chart myself, even after giving the example that what the guy wanted in Get Out was to quit smoking. When I got here, who is what the main character and what do they want? I have that he's a protagonist, 37 to 40, white, news camera operator, and segment director. Joel wants to grow, but he doesn't quite know how. He lives with the love of his life, Zola, but he doesn't know how to proceed. What's wrong with me? What does he want? He wants to go cover the solar eclipse in Missouri. That's what starts this story. That's the thing that he wants. So, haha, gonna make that change now. All this other stuff is part of his pain, part of his makeup, part of his backstory. But what gets the story going is he's in a parking lot loading up his van, waiting on his newsman so that they can drive from Arkansas to Missouri. Why that slipped past me as a motivating uh, uh, step, I don't know. But here we go. I'm writing live. Joel,
Does
yes?
so if Joel wants to cover the eclipse, does that mean he gets what he wants at the very beginning of the story?
Well, very much. Well, we could generalize that to say, I mean, it's very specific for this story in that he wants to drive to Missouri, but we could generalize that Joel wants to make really good news stories. Joel wants to make the best news stories that he can. Um, so does he get what he wants? Yeah. But it wasn't necessarily what he needed because he was still feeling insecure towards Troy leaving, and the next guy leaving or the previous guy leaving. And so does he get what he needs? In the end, yeah, he gets his girlfriend. He finds what he needs in his woman instead of in his coworkers. This sense of a connection and a teamwork that he has with Troy, uh, he's able to transfer that by the end, or at least he's the beginning to transfer that by looking at the engagement rings. And then in the end credits, we have that they're both wearing G-Shock watches at their wedding, and they're getting married with the engagement ring. So yeah, he gets. I would say he does. Especially since it's a single episode, it's a short story. It's not an epic movie where you have to kind of wait till the end or you know what I mean? It's yeah. So Joel wants to drive to Missouri to cover a total eclipse.
The heart.
Overall, Joel wants to deliver good news stories created with his on camera partner. Now, I'm going to leave that in that Joel wants to grow, but he doesn't quite know it. He lives with the love of his life, Lola Z, but he doesn't know how to proceed. So, um,
Could I maybe float something to you? And if
absolutely.
this is uh the wrong time for this in terms of like the process, that's cool. If this is invalid, I also think that's valid. Um, but a thought that I had was if Joel wants like if he's been in relationships before that didn't work out for, whatever reason, maybe didn't want to commit, maybe they wanted to get married, he didn't want to get married. Could it be a situation where he wants to be with this woman and he wants things to work out, but he doesn't want to get married? And at the end, instead of him seeing the wedding ring and then being like, oh, I want to get married now. What if it was like these stories you hear where, somebody is pranked at a baseball game and their friend throws on the Jumbotron, hey, girlfriend, will you marry me? And now they're in a situation where it's like, oh, I didn't want to get married, but how can I tell this woman I have this wedding ring that fell into my hand after this, attempted robbery? And it's like now I'm kind of forced to get married because the thing I really want is to stay with her. And now the only way I can do that is by marrying her.
Well, that's a complication. That's not in the story. I mean,
Well,
that's
we're
another
we're
story.
adapting it, right?
I mean, we're basing it on the short story though. So that's a story element that is not in the story that we're basing it on. So
Okay.
this is an adaptation exercise. Um, but if you want to draft a story like that, that's a good note for a future one. Um, as far as maybe he's been heartbroken before, that would be in his wounds. That would be something that could come up in his wounds. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I was just, like I said, I was getting in the headspace and the thing about a lot of these really effective episodes of the Twilight Zone is they usually have some type of a, I don't want to say twist because
yeah,
I don't think that's doing it justice. It's more of like kind of a really poetic where the character gets what they want, but the context has changed to where even though they have what they want now, it's not the same as what they wanted at the beginning. It's like, be careful what you wish for, you might just get it.
yeah. Okay. I get where you're coming from now. I get it. I get what you're
But
coming
but
from
I also
now.
see your point of view. So apologies for derailing us there for a
No,
moment.
no, not at all. Not at all. And all questions are valid and all discussions are warranted. I and that's something to think about. Maybe some kind of a twist. It's the thing is there's only so much real estate, in a half hour.
Mhm.
There's only so much. Um
So feel like the generic example would be like he wants to see the eclipse, but the catch is he, I don't know. Actually, this is literally from the Twilight Zone episode I was talking to you about earlier, but like he goes
uh-huh.
blind, so he can't see
Right.
it. You know, Bad example, but kind of where my head's at.
Well, I mean, he wants to see the eclipse and he wants to uh, be a good news guy, and then the eclipse kind of grants his wish, but also ends up putting him in danger, like in a sense. But the danger of staring down the robber and getting again in the short story, this doesn't happen, but I've imagined in this, I haven't written it down anywhere, I don't think. But the robber he goes to film the guy with his phone, and the robber shoots the gun out of his hand, or it shoots the phone out of his hand, and that's when he realizes, oh shit, I'm actually in this. I don't have a camera between me and the events. And so he interferes, and he swings his music stand and knocks the guy. And then suddenly he's in his life as well. It's like when he goes back out to his car, and then his watch is like, no, you can't go back into your little headspace again. You've done something different. You've stepped out from behind the camera. So it's like, well, what is the rest of this message? And then he sees the wedding rings, and then like, oh, that's what I was sent here for, not for the music stand. Um, but yeah,
Yeah,
I see what you're saying though. Should there be a second? twist within a twist or twist within a
Well, no, I think you
complication.
just answered the question. I think our ending is he went there looking for the story, aka to get the music stand, and what the watch actually took him to was the wedding rings.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I want them both to be wearing the watches at the end in the wedding pictures at the end. Like just the watch is what made this happen. Like just
Ah, okay.
like the watch is the best man kind of a thing. The matchmaker of the two. Um,
Hmm.
I hope it works. I liked I think it works as for what it is. Yeah, I think it works okay, but I'm always happy to add a
So
twist if it's
we're not
organic.
really creating anything here. We are discovering what's already on the page.
Yeah, we're adapting. Now, that doesn't mean it's got to be a direct, one-to-one ratio of elements. We can always like, I'm adding that he's got a phone, but the beats of the story and the payoffs of the story have to kind of match. There are formulas for what constitutes an adaptation and what constitutes a ripoff or an influence in the world of what you can get away with when you make an adaptation. But yeah, this is turning prose into screenwriting is what we're
All right,
working on here. So
cool.
um so we got all of these. Um so let's look at Troy. Troy West. Who is Troy West and what does he want? I'm going to say I picture Troy as handsome, late 20s, any race.
But no.
We got enough of those. No, any race. Um, college boy, probably did theater, charismatic, career oriented, sees Arkansas as a good first assignment, good first contract. Okay. What do
So
they
he
want?
wants the
What do you
big
want?
job.
He wants to be a nationally known news figure. That's pretty basic. Handsome, late 20s, any race, college boy, probably did theater, charismatic, career oriented, sees Arkansas as a good first contract. He wants to be a nationally known news figure. Uh, I would like to add, he knows that he lucked out getting assigned to Joel. He knows that Joel is really good at his job and knows that Joel is molding him into a national newsman. Oh, actually, that could have been, let's say, look, what are the characters' relationships like? Let's put that, let's just repeat that here. Uh, Main characters. Describe your relation. What are the obstacles the main characters must encounter to overcome in order to get what they want? Uh, okay. I would say the main obstacle is that Fayetteville's kind of boring, right? Like the notion that he got two stories and he's eager to go do a total eclipse, and then the fact that it got regional coverage, and it was the best coverage of the eclipse of all of the network, or, all of the stations in that area. So, Troy knows that he is lucky to have Joel as his segment director. Um, his obstacle to fame is that Arkansas news is kind of boring and low key. How about Fayetteville, Arkansas? Let's be specific. Low key. Um, if he listens to Joel, that's all right. That's enough. In the end, did the main
Mhm.
characters get what they want? Is it good? Yes. Uh, yes, he has. They have lined up. He's going to deliver one of his stories on Good Morning America or whatever the network is there. So Wake Up America. Um, the main character, or well, Troy is tapped to introduce a news segment on Wake Up America in New York. This is a type of audition for the big leagues. Why does the audience care? You got anything to add to that, Kyle? What do you think of that?
No, I think you nailed it.
Okay. Why does the audience care? What makes us want to watch this character's journey? Um, I think that Troy's just a charismatic, he's easy to watch. Um, let's put it this way.
Unoffensive.
Inoffensive,
Unoffensive?
unoffensive. How about uh because Troy is kind of Joel's puppet. Troy is kind of Joel's mouthpiece and uh Joel is the manifestation of Joel's expression. You know what I mean? How would we say that? Joel is
His success is directly linked to Joel's.
that's great. Troy's success is directly linked to Joel's expertise and story craft. What do my main characters need? How does it differ from what they want? Hint, want material things, ego driven, need, inner desires and conflicts, spiritual. Um, I think that Troy needs attention, whether it's spiritual.
Ooh.
He needs
Hmm.
attention. He lives for it.
Or maybe he's always had it. So whether he realizes it or not, to not have it would be devastating to him.
Right.
Think
Like,
of a hot girl who's never heard no.
yeah, it's like pretty privilege.
Hmm.
His pretty privilege has always earned him attention and praise. Plus, he is good at making others feel good. Why now? Why is this happening to these characters in this? Well, Troy, Troy is ready to move on. He has done his small town internship. That's not quite the right word. What do you call it when a doctor does a yeah,
Residency?
a residency? Yeah, let's call it that. He's done a small town residency and wants to expand his audience.
Kind of funny, before we got started, I was going to throw my G-Shock on. I think, yeah, we're talking about G-Shocks. And I actually got a warning on it that I've never seen before. And for a
Really?
moment, I was like, are you talking to me, G-Shock?
Did it say boobs?
What does low battery mean?
Low bat? Oh no, the low bats are coming.
Oh no.
Low, they're so low. Characters, wounds, eggs. I think we can keep Troy a happy-go-lucky dude. I don't think we have to. He's a supporting player. We don't have to go that far. What do you think? I don't think we need to spend a whole lot of time breaking him down. For the purposes of this story, Troy is a reactionary character to Joel, right?
Yeah.
It's like, in the old Superman movies, they're all just there to talk about Superman. They're, even Luthor is just there to talk about Superman.
The original
Uh,
newsman.
the original uh, mild-mannered reporter.
Although I will
Um,
say, I was watching that new James Gunn Superman this week, and I was going through these same questions, but with the Nicholas Holt Lex Luthor.
uh-huh.
And I gotta say, he pretty much nails all these. Like, he's got plenty of motivation for everything that he does and everything that happens to him in the story. And I feel like at the end, when, he's kind of found out and Nicholas Holt gets those tears going, I'm like, yeah, they earned this. Like, on paper,
Yeah,
they technically earned this.
yeah, yeah. It's a tight script. It's like so many things that you're going, what is this? And then it has a payoff. So many the
Even
little
I watched the How It Should Have Ended, and probably like four things that he mentioned in there. When I rewatched the film, I'm like, oh, actually, there was this like little line of dialogue where he did address, why this certain thing happened this certain way.
Yeah. Yeah, I was real surprised. Like the little pocket universe and what I loved about it was the little instead of a super long scroll, it was like one sentence, 2 years ago this happened, or
Mhm.
2 hours ago this happened. And
Yeah.
boom, it was just so nice and quick. Like, this story. We don't have to
hmm
scroll and tell you a backstory and world building.
One of the plot holes for me was how Metamorpho's like, you have to hold my baby. I can't, hold
Yeah.
him. And I thought he said, I can't hold him and fly around. But what he actually says is, I can't hold him when I change, meaning he could hold him even if he was flying. But if he had to change, like
Oh.
into acid, like, we see, or into
Oh,
any
okay.
other thing, that would hurt the baby. So I was like, oh, interesting. Like, because I definitely missed that first go.
Well, that's a good
So
thing to clarify, like
yeah.
so do we have a satisfying ending? Troy has a pretty happy ending in the story. Troy's tapped to go to
Oh
New
yeah.
York. Um, he even introduces the Lemonade Girls on the national morning news. Okay. Let's see. Lola. Now here we go. Who is Lola and what does she want? Okay.
How'd you come up with that last name?
There was somebody my daughter went to school with. That was their name. And I
Wow.
just always loved it. It was such a because their name, it was on the tennis they like sponsored. He was a realtor or something, and so he sponsored.
Mm.
And so I would just see this big sign with the name Zigorlinski, and I just loved it. It was like, that's a
All your
name.
favorite letters from the alphabet.
I know, right? It's like an eye chart. Lola Zigorlinski. It's just such a I don't know. I just like it. Um,
With a name like that, she's dying to get married. Which is brings
Lola,
us to what she wants in this story, is to
what
change
does
that name.
she want? Okay, Lola is a librarian at the University of Arkansas.
My buddy's wife was a librarian, and I used to joke, does your wife dress up like a sexy businesswoman for you then?
Did she tell you to get loud? At the University of Arkansas. Uh, she, what does she want? She, she wants Joel to commit,
Live up to his potential? Ah,
open up to her. Want
see
to,
in himself what she sees in him.
that's perfect. That is absolutely perfect, Kyle. Um, but she doesn't want to scare him away. What are the characters' relationships like and the obstacles? Okay.
Would this story be better if one of the stakes was whether or not, like that last sentence you wrote there, what if that is the case, but the audience doesn't know that? So one of the stakes for Joel is maybe she does want to go away, you know?
Well, I thought that this is going to be one of the big differences between the story and the screenplay is that when they meet up after with the news crew, I thought that we could get some exposition going with them, like, "Oh, it's so good to meet you, finally," and like, "Oh, so how long have y'all been living together?" And "Oh, you think Joel's gonna pop the question?" Like all these little awkward meeting
Hmm.
somebody, meeting a coworker's girlfriend. It's always a little, so do you watch the news? You must be really proud of Joel. You know what I mean? It's always so weird. Uh, it's all like you have to just jump in so hard right at the beginning, and it's like, can we just be organically get to know each other? Um, so it could be like, you could just the way she reacts is very, like you know what I mean? Like that'll be something we really examine in the dialogue when we get to the pages. But we will kind of put that in the outline when we get to the roadmap and say, discussion at the bar involves, talk of Joel and Lola, like so. The characters relate. Okay. She has lived with Joel. How many months? How many months should they have lived together? What's a good time?
Months. Wow. Let's
What's
go
a good
years,
amount of
baby.
what did you say? What?
Years?
I don't want it to
How many
be
years?
I don't want it to be a whole year, but how about coming up on a year?
That
Like
is a
that,
good
yeah.
milestone. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
11 months, 12 days. Oh,
Well,
you know that.
she's lived with Joel for coming up on a year. Neither of them are getting any younger. She loves Joel. She, yeah, well, I already said she didn't want to scare him. Neither of them are getting any younger. She loves Joel. The obstacle is Joel's fear of abandonment keeps him from letting her in as much as she would like. How's that sound? I mean, I
Sounds
think
good.
that's kind of universal too, isn't it? Like, that's not hard to relate to. And what are the obstacles? Okay. Um, okay. She needs to, she needs to say what she wants, but that's scary. Okay. In the end, do the main characters, does she get what she wants? Uh, Joel, Joel is buying an engagement ring at the end of the story. So, presumably, um, wedding photos over and credits. Why does the audience care? What makes us want to watch the character's journey? Uh, it's a happy ending. You get a happy ending. You kind of get a happy ending out of nowhere. You know, you think it's going in one direction and then that's where it goes. I think maybe that's the twist, is that you don't know that that's where this is going to go. That, you know, that he's looking at that he was sent there to look at wedding rings instead.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why does the audience care? Um, the twist of the story is that the watch sent Joel to look at wedding rings at the pawn shop, not the music stand he was so excited to find. It only took getting shot at to reevaluate what is important. Huh. Main characters need, it's different what they want. Bonus questions. What does she need? Um, she needs Joel to open up. Joel to have faith in their to see a future relationship and himself. Why now? Because It's almost a year since they've been together. A year. One of the main characters' wounds aches. Uh, I don't know. What is it? Jeopardy. What is the main character's wounds aches? She's afraid. Uh, fear that Joel won't step up. Maybe. What do you think? What do you think, Kyle?
I think you got to figure it out.
Okay. Satisfying
Well,
ending.
and kind of the way that she's written right now, a lot of this stuff here seems more so for questions for Joel. Like the stakes don't really get more complicated than what we've already laid out for her, correct?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think that the farther we get away from Joel, the fewer of these questions we have to answer for the other characters. Okay. Let me,
I mean, let's just go through them real quick because, yeah, there might not be an answer, but, you
okay.
know, is there something that does change her actions earlier in the story? You know,
Of Lola's?
yeah,
Okay. What are the main characters' wounds or aches? What are the flaws of the main characters? So, I would say
well,
she
she
doesn't
hasn't.
say what she wants.
Okay,
She is,
that's a good one.
yeah.
Well, and like I said, we can just run through these. Um,
What is it? Jeopardy? Um, the relationship could falter if it doesn't grow.
would the price be having to move in with somebody else? Not being able to afford the rent on their place? Like, is there some type of something associated with their living situation that also creates some stakes, even if they're minor for her?
Well, I kind of wanted to set it that they're not financially dependent on each other. They could both afford to live separate. They both have jobs, and it's a cheap place to live, but they couldn't buy a house, individually. Um, that's, part of the expanding. Um, but they're not living together because they can't afford not to live together. Like at this point, they haven't bought a house. So
They don't live in Austin.
they don't, they live in Arkansas. What do the characters fear most? What shuts them down emotionally? What breaks them into a sweat? Um, I think she's cool. I think I don't know. I mean, fear of growing old alone, but I mean, isn't that everybody's?
Well, maybe it's not fear of growing old. Maybe it's fear of having to date again. Put
Oh,
herself
that's
out there.
good. That's good. I haven't done that in so long, it never occurs to me. You're still, you're still a
It's
rookie.
like, yeah, that's one of the things I think of is like, I'm thankful because I don't have to do that grind anymore. Get
Man,
good at pretending I'm not disappointed.
dating in Fayetteville. That's great. Satisfying ending? Yeah, I think so. Yes, Joel proposes. They have wedding pictures over the credits. All right. Okay. Yeah, that was quick. Um, Lemonade Girl, who, what do you say, 10? Age 10?
Yeah, any younger than she's probably gonna have a parent with her as well.
Yeah, I just had him as lady. 10-year-old girl sells lemonade at her stand. Um, well, okay, just wants 10-year-old girl wants to sell lemonade. The neighbor called the cops. In the end, she ends up on the news and gets a trip to New York out of it. She's cute. Why do we care? She's cute. She's a cute kid. She's a cute kid. The story has Norman Rockwell. It's like Act Two has cute kids. Act Three has a pawn shop robbery. What do they need? They're fine. Why now? Characters' wounds or aches. What's in jeopardy? They don't know. They're fine. Yes, her story ends happily. Let's say, okay, and then Lemonade Girl 2, same as Lemonade Girl 1.
There you go.
Goral. What's your favorite Twilight Zone?
You know, well, I watched some good ones today because I've just been going through like people's top 10 lists. I haven't gotten back to the one that was like, I remember there being an episode with a ATM machine that's like actually an automatic time machine. Um, but I can't find it. And now I'm
Oh,
like, was that Twilight Zone? Was that Outer Limits? Was that something else? I saw
yeah, it
Untitled.
doesn't sound, I don't
Uh,
remember that at all from the
yeah,
Twilight
so I'm
Zone. And I
like,
feel
oh,
like I've
maybe,
probably seen them all.
yeah. Still going through, but I think I really love. I think it's called a Monster Comes to Maple Street,
Yeah, the monsters are
where
due on Maple Street.
yeah, um, it's 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 such a timeless story because it's about people, you know, being paranoid and turning on each other and over something that really is kind of inconsequential, just losing your electricity, you know, and then your cars won't
Right.
start. And then now you're ready to like kill your neighbor and like torch their house. All along, you see the hand of the puppets that are pulling the strings. And it's like now in modern days, we have remote start, we have the ability to like turn the meter off. Like that is very easy to do now. So it makes you realize taking today's technology into the past, how easily you could manipulate people and how we are probably being manipulated right now, whether we want to admit it or not, and you know, countless ways.
It always gets me how, you know, I think it's the best TV show ever. We're still talking about it, and they're still
Hmm.
contemporary, they still land. It just amazes me how, you just and nobody's ever been able to replicate the show itself. They can try, but there have been at least three Twilight Zone reboots in my adult life, and none of them have ever quite done any. They've had their little moments, but This was Rod
I do like
Serling.
that Adam Scott airplane episode of the latest one
It's
where
so
he's listening to the
long.
podcast.
Yeah. But that's so weird. That one's like, it's so long and it's just, I don't know. So John Drew owns,
I will
works
give you
at
that. It
Bash
is
US
long. Yeah.
Pawn. He wants to run a good business and not be robbed. I just, I mean, I think that other people can, I think it's okay to try, but it's like, you're just never going to be Rod Serling. You're just not going to beat his vision.
I also
Just,
think a lot of the credit for that show really needs to go to some of the material he adapted for the
oh,
show.
sure.
All the different
Yeah.
short story authors and material. And I think that goes back to like, dude had great taste
Oh,
and
yeah.
like, could really
Yeah.
recognize what worked. Um, yeah, it's such a talent. Austin Kleon has a series of books. The first one is Steal Like an Artist. And yeah, I feel like the kind of the adapting those stories falls into like everything he talks about in his books.
Yeah. He was a fascinating guy. He was a Golden Gloves boxer. He was an airborne soldier. He, fought in World War II. He, yeah, he's the man. He's really, uh, he's my favorite writer, my most influential worldview, influential writer. Character was
I
really,
do love it though. You watch some of those episodes and it's like, meet Larry, 36. And I'm like, dude, Johnny looks younger than this guy.
I
Like,
know they
what
all look
the
so
hell?
old. Everybody all there has bags
Yeah.
under their eyes. They're all like, "Oh, the war
Mhm.
really took it out of me." They're all,
Yeah.
and they're like, "What
Well,
the hell's
strap in.
going
Vietnam's
on?"
about to kick your ass. Uh, yeah.
I like the one
Smoking.
where he does the Gig Young does the walk. I can't remember, a walk to Willoughby or something like that, where he walks and he sees himself as a kid and he's going,
I
hold on to
remember that
your
one. Yeah.
youth. And then he walks back um, and his dad is like, I believe you that you're my son, but you need to go back to your time. Like I get it, but yeah, weird shit happens, but you can't mess with your younger self. And he just runs him off. Because what I really like about that one, watching it, I just watched it a couple years ago, and watching it as an older adult is like that could have all just been shit that played in his head as he walked through his town, as he walked through his childhood town. He's like, I remember when I was standing there. Wouldn't that be weird? Like it just is this kind of a little stoner walk. It doesn't have to be literal. And so many of them don't have to be literal. They just are like, yeah, this is just somebody freaking the fuck out. But my favorite one is the hitchhiker. That's still the scariest thing I've ever seen, where the woman is keeps seeing the same hitchhiker. That one still
Yeah.
just gives me a chill when I think about it. Um,
Yeah. There was a show, really good too. I didn't finish it, but where the family essentially gets caught in this weird purgatory type situation where no matter how much they drive, they keep driving through the same town.
yeah.
Do you remember what that was? I think it was on Matt, like Cinemax or like one of the networks not everybody has. Here,
Oh, I
I'll
know
find
the
it
one
for
that
you.
has Harold Perrineau from Lost.
That's the yeah,
I
I think
saw the
so.
first two seasons, but I don't have that channel, so I'm waiting for it to be on uh, Prime or Netflix or whatever.
Hmm.
So, yeah, it's one of them I don't have, and that was a
I'll find the
strange
name real
show.
quick.
Um, Chandru is friendly. He learns his customers' names. Um, yeah, that's it. His name's Chandru. He works in a pawn shop. In the end, does he get what he wants? Well, he doesn't get killed by the robber. Joel saves him, sort of, in that we don't know what would have happened with the with the gunman. Aren't we glad he didn't kill? Aren't we glad he didn't kill Joel and Chandru? Okay, bonus questions. Does the audience care? Oh, it's not much of a journey. Um, that's all tied in with Joel. Why now? No man, was the jeopardy, the danger, getting shot, getting killed, satisfying ending. Yeah, okay. Um, Lady one, mother of Lemonade Girl. Wants the neighbor to leave her kid alone.
Found the name of that show.
What is it?
It's called From.
From?
Yeah.
What a terrible title.
Yeah, don't. As illustrated by that IMDb search that took way longer than I normally
Right,
take.
from. Because I knew that it was something dumb like that, and even that didn't spring to mind. Lady two wants lemonade girls to stop selling lemonade.
Oh shit, there was a true crime Netflix documentary that came out in the past couple weeks, kind of around this wild case in Florida that surrounded like the stand your ground laws they have down there about a woman who had,
Oh, yeah,
children
I
of
heard
color
about
playing
that.
in the frame. Oh yeah, this thing is heartbreaking.
Yeah, that's what yeah, I don't want to watch it.
Yeah,
Like,
they get the
oh,
woman in the end though. That's the wildest part of the story is that they actually put her in jail.
ugh,
But
put her
thankfully
under.
I mean, not thankfully, they just had so much damning evidence of her. It's like, I don't see how any jury could just see how much this woman was terrorizing these kids and be like, oh yeah, she was trying to defend herself.
Yeah, I just don't get it. Does not want Troy to make a big deal out of this lemonade incident. What are the characters' relationship? What are the obstacles? Um, he doesn't want to look like a dickhead cop on the news, right? I mean, isn't that reasonable? It's like, Troy, go on. I don't want, you're gonna make me the bad guy. There's no part of this story where the cop isn't the bad guy, right? That'd be a good line for him to say, something like that. All right, where?
I will be right back. One.
Okay. Anchorman. Um, Blades. Probably white. Celebrity bearing. Always perfect. So the three questions for the Anchorman: middle age, could be a woman, probably white. Celebrity bearing, has a celebrity bearing, carries himself with a celebrity bearing. Hair is always perfect. Um, what do they want? They want to be watched. They want ratings. They are very happy with Joel's viewer friendly stories and the popularity of Troy. Uh, So I said, I'm on the anchor man, not necessarily even an anchor man, could be an anchor woman. Middle age, could be a woman, probably white. Celebrity bearing. They carry themselves with celebrity bearing. Hair always perfect. They want ratings. They're very happy with Joel's viewer-friendly stories and the popularity of Troy. Um, very friendly, but in charge at the same time. Um, I would say the anchor is kind of the boss of the crew of the yeah. Well, what would you the anchor? Do you know anything about news?
I've seen Groundhog's Day a bunch.
So so the anchor is not he's like the boss of the talent, but not necessarily of the show. Is kind of how I see it. Like the producer is the boss of the show, right? But they sure, I mean, an anchorman is not the same as David Letterman, like it's not the same as a host of a show, but they do have a little more bearing. I mean, they're definitely senior and they're the one whose picture is on the bus, kind of a thing. So, boss of the on-air talent, kind of the boss of the on-air talent, sets the tone of the broadcast. Um, yeah, friendly. The obstacles again. Fayetteville is kind of boring. Local news is not a big deal. Yeah, they get what they want. Yeah, they get invited. How about they marry they do the wedding ceremony.
Mhm.
Pictures at the end. I think I don't think we need to go into detail on this too much. Um, Weatherman, similar to the Anchorman, same as the Anchorman, pretty much, but with weather. Um, Probably an ethnic character. I don't want to say that out loud. Um, oh wait, this is live. Uh, let's see. Um, I'm just gonna glaze through these guys. Sportscaster, jock, middle-aged jock, middle-aged jock, uh, local celebrity, local celebrity. Um, yeah. Um, their lines are at the happy hour after the eclipse. Good guy, not a bully, but sports brained. Okay. And then studio crew one, um, cameraman, studio cameraman, studio cameraman wants wants to produce a good show. I'm live. Uh, that's, and then studio crew two, boom mic. I don't know what, just a crew member, another cameraman, another cameraman. Same. All right. I think, I think that pretty much informs. That's all. That's everybody that I can think of that was in the story. If we come up with anybody else, we'll have to put them in there. We'll write them into the outline. That's fine. Again, the outline is always is just as much of a living document as uh, as the script. So I'm gonna create a document out of this. Once you get done, you generate document, and it'll give you a report that gives you nice big, big bold headlines and tells you what's going on there. So let me signposts. So below are the signposts offered in our default template, developed and revised over many years by screenwriter J.V. Hart. But remember, signposts are not a formula and can differ in every script. They are simply tools to help you drive your story forward without getting lost. So, set the world. Let the audience meet your main characters and live in their world for a few minutes. Size them up, empathize, worry, care a bit. This is what your main characters are doing the day before the movie starts. Often about 15% of the story. Now, this is a big deal because I got feedback from script readers that would say in the pilot that I wrote, that would say you need to get to the incident, you need to get to the inciting incident quicker. And I like on page one, you need to get to the inciting incident on page one. And one of the things that JV brought up this at the at his presentation at Austin Film Festival this weekend was that is the trait. If you just jump right into action, you're writing an action-oriented story. And the problem with that is that you get to the end and you don't really care what happened. You don't care, what happened to any of the characters because you never really got to know the characters before their world started blowing apart. If you have to have some kind of contrast to who they were and what they are running the risk of losing or uh, failing at. If you don't, then there's really no jeopardy and there's no payoff either because who cares what they get if you don't know them anyway. So um, I think that you should always spend a couple of pages. In this story, we have the drive to Arkansas. So they have their little talk on the drive to Arkansas. Now, in this, that could be a time Troy could ask him about Lola. Like when we get to writing the pages, that's where it's really going to be fun. Of, okay, so how do we get this information that my third person omniscient narrator just laid out, like, oh, they've been living together for so long. Now it could be Troy saying, yeah, do you have to leave early? Did you wake up your girlfriend? Or, how long y'all been living together now anyway? Like, it would be funny. It would, you know, look, this is live. If he moved in with Lola about the same time that Troy came around. So Troy is kind of like, I'm coming up on a year, man. I'm coming up on a year. And he's like, yeah, we're coming up on a year living together. Like both of them are kind of having, where Troy is like, I want more, and Joel's kind of like, I don't know, it's pretty cool how it is, but both of them have this 1 year ticking clock going. Joel has no sense of urgency about it because he kind of is afraid of it. And Troy is just chomping at the bit for something bigger. So that'll be the kind of thing of personality building that we can get into when we're writing the pages. But that had we not outlined, that wouldn't have occurred to me to think of, what Troy wants, that Troy's ready to move along. So let's see what if JV's.
Son,
Yeah.
begin with to set the world. Let's spend some time with your main character. Let the audience know who they are, what their desires are, what their wants are, what kind of place they live in, what they're up against. And I like to think of it as what was my main character doing before the story started, before the movie started, before the series started. Set the world.
Nice. So, what I wrote before, based on the story, Joel Kittredge, 38, coiled and compact, lives in Fayetteville, Arkansas. He is a news cameraman segment director. His reporter is Troy West, a classically handsome, charming young man. Troy has put his career in Joel's hands. Joel has a history of making stars out of reporters. The story is behind the scenes of local news with a variety of visual textures between video news segment footage intercut with real-world footage of the stories being filmed. So new opportunity. Let's hear what your main character gets a new opportunity that will change the course of their life. What they do with that opportunity determines the course of the rest of your story.
New opportunity. Something is going to happen to your main character that they were not expecting to happen the day before, or even when the morning they got up. Whatever this new opportunity is, it opens a desire in them that they may have forgotten about or didn't have or haven't addressed in a long time, or it's brand new. And that desire is what's going to propel them through the rest of the story. New opportunity.
All right. What I wrote, August 22nd, 2017. The story begins with Joel and Troy taking the news van on a pre-dawn road trip to Missouri to do a story on the total eclipse. Throughout this section, the visuals cut to Joel's Casio G-Shock solar-powered watch. Joel and Troy can explain the mission as they finish packing the van. So that's a little note to the dialogue. Joel and Troy can explain the mission as they finish packing the van. Exposition on drive time, destination, eclipse time, a real beat the clock situation. So their dialogue, they lay out what's going to happen, why they're there, why it's so early. They arrive at the Katy Depot to an eclectic crowd and an army of news vans. During the totality, Joel hits the stopwatch function of his watch. The watch numbers flicker and the screen goes solid black. Joel looks at the sun without his piece of welding glass, glance and away. He looks at the mesmerized crowd, and everyone is spellbound Neanderthal, including himself. He blinks, and it's back to normal. Troy drives back while Joel edits the footage in the back of the van on his laptop. Joel discovers that his watch is fried. They arrive in time to get the segment on the 5 o'clock news, and the segment is fantastic. The news crew goes to the bar to celebrate, and the station manager calls to tell them that their segment was going national on the 10 o'clock broadcast and the national morning show in New York. Note, dig up some cool pagan Crowley total eclipse quotes for Joel to give Troy to add a mystical element to the entire affair. Something about how this extremely rare event is at God level. So not only do I kind of break down there, it sounds a little crammed, but I make notes to myself about what to put in the dialogue. I'm not just retelling the story in another sentence, but it's like, okay, this is the place where we can work on expanding the story from a story to a screenplay. So that's a thing that is, an outline is good for. Is it's just a good way to make notes to yourself to what you need to follow on and what you need to create with. So, second opportunity. By the way, a lot of people will call the first opportunity the inciting incident. That's the thing that changes things. JV doesn't like that phrase. I'm kind of on the fence about it because I understand his point, but um, uh, he just doesn't like it. He feels that it's putting all your eggs in one basket instead of having uh, opportunities come up along the storyline. The second opportunity and what the main character does with the opportunity and the consequences of that opportunity put the character in motion in pursuit of a new direction or new journey to achieve and obtain what the main character wants and needs. So, what I can take that to mean is the first opportunity is the trip itself. The second opportunity is the kind of supernatural thing that is a result of that trip. But you still have to take them out of their original comfort zone, of their original, something has to happen. It has to be somewhat propulsive, at least for me.
Second opportunity, and most important, the second opportunity sets your main character on the journey that they're going to take. It's going to drive the rest of the story, pursuing what they want. Second opportunity.
Visible, tangible goal. This is the most important thing. Personal growth, overall goal, personal growth. See, this is once again, uh, the visible, tangible goal was to cover the news story. That's it. Visible, tangible goal. VTB to make the news interesting. To Yeah, let's just leave it at that. Overall goal, personal growth. Joel sees the world through the viewfinder or the screen. Years have passed underfoot as Joel's talent as a cameraman, segment director has made national stars out of the field reporters he has put on screen. Joel feels a sense of frustration from his girlfriend Lola. She has moved in with him, but Joel is resistant to opening up. How do I make that a visual signal? How do I, would it just be the dialogue with him and Troy? I mean, how would you express that? How would you express somebody afraid to move forward in a relationship or afraid to open up in a relationship?
Sending a call to voicemail is something that I feel like sometimes happens when you're like, unsure. And maybe in the moment you tell yourself, like, oh, I'll just get to that later, but it could be indicative of something bigger. If you're looking for a subtle way of doing it, I think, you know, covering that in the van while they're talking about the situation is also a way to do it.
Like, I like that idea of a voicemail? That's something I never would have thought
Well,
of.
not a voicemail, but it's the whole idea of, he can take the call, but he chooses, I'll call her back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, maybe
Yeah.
even Troy says, "Oh, you can take that." Oh no, I'll call her back.
That's good. That's good. Prefers phone tag to answering a call in real time. That's good. It's also kind of she's calling him, knows he's on the road, and he hits it to go to voicemail. He doesn't want to talk in front of Troy, and he doesn't want her mixing with work. Like, you know,
Yeah.
that's these are two separate things. So, um, which, okay, Joel is confident at work, and this is contrasted by how he lacks confidence or vision regarding his relationship with Lola. He's new at it. He doesn't have experience and he doesn't understand that you have to learn this stuff. I think that's good for now, right? I mean, visible, tangible
Yeah.
goal is to make the news interesting, So every day he gets up and that's his daily goal. Progress. Your main character makes progress toward the visible, tangible goal and deals with obstacles, characters, conflicts encountered that complicate the journey.
Progress. Something positive that you took from your obstacles and you took from your relationships that your character achieves. Small plateau, baby step, mini victory, progress. Make sure that you give your characters progress towards that goal.
He talked about this. This is, yeah, the Cinderella moment. Progress and Cinderella moments. You have to have, it can't just be everything sucks, like, and then at the end it's all okay. There has to be moments that the audience is like, yes, good for you, to make you to root for the guy, uh, or woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just have struggle. There has to be an advance. It moves the story along, it moves your characters along. Progress. In the morning, Joel's watch spells out boobs in block LCD letters. Joel sees this, looks at Lola asleep, and her shirt is up over her breasts. Joel smiles. Thanks, watch. Joel and Troy cover a story about a used car lot with shattered windshields. The culprit had his car repossessed and got drunk. They identified him from the surveillance while the news crew was filming. It bummed the two out. A comment on unemployment and a small town lack of anonymity. That's the kind of thing Joel doesn't like to cover. They leave feeling mopey when Joel's watch says left. They turn into a neighborhood and run across a conflict between neighbors about a lemonade stand. Cops are there. It's a neighborhood conflict segment, chunk of gold. New York calls and wants Troy to fly up overnight to introduce the segment on the next day's daily show, an on-air audition. So that is progress. Joel is delivering news. He's making a star out of Troy. Troy is getting what he wants. He's not making any progress with Zola or Lola. So let's see. Setback. Something pushes your main character away from the visible, tangible goal. Progress and setbacks are a series of mini defeats or minor victories. Conflict and consequence come with the decisions your main character makes that drive the story. There can be a number of short signposts for these, often 25 to 50% of your story. So that's a big deal. A quarter to a half of your story should be dedicated to this setback.
Setback. Something that happens to your character that pushes them back further away from that goal. Something that is taken away from them. Something they fail at. A mini defeat. Setback.
I'm going to say the setback, okay, emotional setback. This is what I wrote before. Emotional setback, maybe. Troy is being poached, getting the tap on the shoulder by a big city morning show as a co host. That is what Joel does. He makes reporters look good and their careers take off while he stays behind. He worked for a big Miami station and was a hired hand cameraman with no creative control, and he was underpaid. Joel likes living in Fayetteville, but the rotation of handsome young reporters has made him feel old and triggered, an uneasy, inarticulated fear of abandonment. So the setback is good news for Troy, but it triggers Joel into feeling abandoned. The setback in his case is that he steers into it. He steers into that skid by going to the pawn shop, by doing his normal Saturday morning routine. Instead of leaning into his relationship, he retreats from it because he's afraid it's gonna. He doesn't even quite realize that that's what he's afraid of, but he's afraid that if he leaves me, she's gonna leave me because that's what people do. Um, yeah, so there's that. Cinderella moment. This gives the main character a deserved moment of success in their struggle and empowers them to reach the top of the mountain. These moments typically occur more than once in your narrative.
Cinderella moment. Very, very special moment that was created out of a different kind of need. In the Cinderella story, there's a moment where Cinderella sees herself in the gown and sees her coach, the fairy godmother gave her. And it's a little bit of a spotlight before she gets to the top of the mountain or after she gets to the top of the mountain. Find a way to give your main character a grace note or a pat on the back or a little dance in the spotlight. Cinderella moment. You can use more than one. You can put them anywhere you want, but it's important that we have Cinderella moments.
Okay, now what did I write before? Perhaps Joel runs into someone at the coffee shop who asks about Lola. Joel explains how he needs his me time on Saturdays from when he always lived with roommates and in co ops. They point out that this was 13 years ago. Good opportunity for Joel to have a monologue where he listens to himself explain his tendency to self isolate. But guess what? That's not a Cinderella moment. The Cinderella moment is getting the calls from New York. It's getting this validation that his news stories are going so well that it's Troy getting this audition. It's everybody. He gets Cinderella moments. He has one big setback and then two big Cinderella moments, I would say. So let me add that here. Uh, the Cinderella moments are the success of the news stories and the attention they bring to Troy. Just gonna leave that there. Okay, top of the mountain. This might sound silly, but I'm gonna say the top of the mountain might be finding the music stand. If you're drawing a picture of your movie, top of the mountain is typically near the center point of your narrative story. Okay, well, that's not it then. The highest point you have reached. Your main character has made progress toward their goal and realized a major minor. Actually, finding the music stand is a Cinderella moment in the middle of a kind of a dark moment, like he's yeah, over an obstacle, realize a major minor victory over some obstacle. Everything seems to be going according to plan. Your main character appears to be advancing toward their goal and what they want. There is a false sense of security as they reach a major summit. Now they must spend the rest of the story trying not to fall down the mountain.
By building progress and setback, your journey is to climb towards the top of the mountain, which is the center of your narrative. Top of the mountain, to me, is important in all narrative. It's the peak. It is a place in the center of your narrative where your main characters have achieved what we think is their goal, or they've been given a pat on the back, something great has happened to them. It's almost like they have a spotlight on them for the first time. There's hope that they're going to achieve and get us to the end of the story.
Okay. I think that tracks. I'm going to say finding the music stand in the pawn shop is a big deal for Joel. he thinks the watch sent him there for the music stand. This is in contrast to wondering why he can't hang out with Lola on Saturday mornings comfortably. Point of no return. As your main character progresses to the visible, tangible goal, there comes a point where a decision, an action, or an event occurs from which there is no turning back. It is too late to start over. What has happened cannot be undone or changed. The main character must continue toward the visible, tangible goal, often the 50 to 60% mark of your story.
Point of no return. Now we're getting serious. Once you've passed the top of the mountain, once you've achieved that goal, the rest of the narrative is going to pull you down through the point of no return. Point of no return is irrevocable. It cannot be undone. It's something that's happened, knowledge that's been learned by your main character, a decision's been made, the consequence of a decision's been made that cannot be undone. You can't go back to the beginning and start over. Point of no return.
So, point of no return to me, Joel. Okay, I put this under resurrection opportunity. Let's see what resurrection opportunity is. After your main character is crashed and burned and all is lost, you have a choice to make. Do you leave your main character in flames on the desert floor, never to reach their goal, or do you give them a resurrection opportunity, a chance to get back on their feet and complete their journey?
Resurrection opportunity. What do we mean by resurrection opportunity? We've left our main characters in disaster. All is lost. How are we going to get them back up on their feet and get them back on their journey to reach the end? A resurrection opportunity comes from another character, an opportunity we've forgotten about, a storyline that has been woven in through the story. It doesn't necessarily come from your main character. It's not about being a He-Man. It's about getting an opportunity from some other source and resurrecting yourself so you get back on your journey. Resurrection opportunity.
Okay, that clarified a lot. So I'm going to say point of no return. Joel walks up on a robbery. He starts filming it with his phone. Plan falls apart. Your main character has faced a series of apparent defeats in order to achieve their goal. And just when it seems that all is going to work out, the hero hits the wall. The rug is pulled out. The plan falls apart. Your hero is down a hole or up that infamous creek with seemingly no way to reach their goal that their desire line has compelled them to seek.
The plan falls apart. Disaster. All is lost. The hero hits the wall. You can make up your own worst title for this signpost. The point of no return sets up a very steep fall and crash and burn where everything is taken away from your main character at the end of Act 2. There's no hope. All is lost. We have no idea how they're ever going to resurrect themselves from this moment and achieve their goal. Disaster. Plan falls apart.
Okay, plan falls apart. The robber shoots at Joel, hitting his phone and shattering a mirror. Uh, Resurrection opportunity. Aha. Now, remember, he said this could come from another character that helps out. The other character is going to be the watch. The watch starts, the watch alarm starts beeping. and distracts the robber. Joel swings his music stand against the robber's head. Chandru jumps in with a bat. Uh, okay. Joel walks up to the register with his music stand. Chandru is being robbed at gunpoint. He walks up as if he is covering a news story. He takes out his phone and snakes up close. This startles the robber, who turns and fires his gun. He misses Joel, but hit the big Budweiser bar mirror. The shock of how loud the gun inside the store brings pause. Conflict resolution. Okay. Does your main character get what they want or not? Is it good or bad for them? Did they reach the visible, tangible goal? This section should address how your main character comes to grips with their nemesis, their growth through the previous structure, signposts, or lack of growth will determine whether or not they can successfully neutralize the nemesis and if they get what they want or get what they need or both.
Conflict resolution. Your story and your characters have been through a series of obstacles and relationships and confrontations and consequences of their decisions. In the conflict resolution, you find a way to solve all of those problems, or at least wrap them up or put a finish on them. Conflict resolution. Resolve your conflicts, resolve your subplots, resolve your subtext, resolve those B characters. Conflict resolution.
Yes. Okay. So I've already said that. Okay. Chandra jumps in with a bat. Conflict resolution. Let's I don't want to erase anything out of the blocks that I put in, and I know I want to wrap this up in the next couple of minutes.
I like how you've been doing it where you leave the previous statements below.
Yeah, I never take anything out of an outline. It's like all of this is I put it in there for a reason. You know, if I gotta pick at it like a seagull, then that's what it's good to know that it's there. So the conflict resolution, um, okay, Joel and Chandru neutralize the robber. The cops come to take him away. Joel sees the the trays of engagement and wedding rings, and feels okay. You shouldn't say what somebody feels, right? But in an outline, you can say what somebody feels because then when you put it into the text, you can figure out how to express what this internal state. So, and so Joel sees the trays of engagement and wedding rings and asks to uh, buy one, or whatever, however that would be phrased. Okay, Joel. When Joel was shot at, he shot at and lost his phone. He stepped into his life instead of watching it through a screen. Now, see, this is something that we might need to expand earlier, is to point out like that could be a thing like, you're really here. You're not just watching this relationship like it's a movie or a news story. We're actually in this, and then so that him getting his phone shot is like, oh shit, I'm actually in this. And so he, throws himself into the story. Uh, Hitting the robber is an involvement, not just witnessing. Satisfying ending. How do you want your audience to feel at the end? And have you delivered a satisfying ending that has been earned and properly anticipated?
Satisfying ending. Not a good ending, not a happy ending, not a sad ending, not a bad ending, not a right ending, not a wrong ending, but a satisfying ending. Meaning, have I earned the ending that I'm delivering to my audience? Is my audience satisfied with the ending I'm giving them? Does it complete this experience for them? Does it complete my story and complete my character's journey? Satisfying ending.
Joel buys an engagement ring. Boom. I think it's a satisfying ending. Over the credits are wedding photos of Joel and Lola and the cast. Lola also wears a solar powered G-Shock as a symbol of communications between the two of them.
So you know how if this story was all about a dog instead of a watch that was leading him to these, stories. In the end, when the dog is the best man at the wedding, the whole payoff would be there'd be like a lady dog that
Right. Yeah.
so it would be funny. I know we didn't really do any character beats for the watch itself, but if the watch is really trying
To have
to
like to have
meet
like
the
both
pink
watches have
G-Shock.
they both
Uh-huh.
smile. Like they you see their hands hold it, but like maybe he's left-handed and he wears his watch on his right hand, and you see him hold hands, and then you close in and both of the watches have
the
smiles.
His watch says boobs and the other watch says pig.
Little pet names. All
Yeah.
right, man, we did it. We got through the
Fantastic.
signposts. We got all the way through both characters and signposts. Next week we'll do the chart and kind of lay it out, and we'll figure out, what. Yeah, well, next week we'll do the chart. I kind of need to go over the chart on my own first to kind of familiarize myself with it again. It's been a while since I've taken it beyond just asking these questions. So
Yeah.
yeah, man. I'm going to expand this and I'm going to stop the share and say, um, all right. So I guess that's it. We'll be next week. Thanks. Anything you want to throw in here? I know we're really we've been in it for 2 hours.
Hey,
Any
we got I think we got a lot done.
I think we did too. And I think it's going to move. Thanks everybody that's watching for bearing with us. The outlining part is the making of the block of marble, and that usually takes a geological action, and so it only took us a few hours of pecking around. So next week we'll get the story charted out, and you can get a sense of how the heart chart gives you a visual to follow. And yeah, I hope you're watching. And if you are, comment if you and just reach out if you're into it. Um, yeah, man. Uh, great to see you, Kyle. And
Same.
we'll see y'all next week.
See you then.